Cemetery Commission is meeting in the Lunenburg Town Hall Bellata Meeting Room. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So in accordance with the requirement of the open meeting law, please be advised that the meeting is being recorded and broadcasted live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube after the meeting. Right now, this morning, we're having some technical difficulties, so anybody that's trying to get on the Public Access Facebook page may not be able to. We're working on it now. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public and particular interest of any specific item on this agenda should make plans for person versus virtual attendance accordingly. A member of the public who wishes to record a meeting must first notify the chair and must comply with the reasonable requirements regarding audio or video equipment established by the chair as not to interfere with the meeting. The chair is required to inform other attendees of the recording at the beginning of the meeting. If someone arrives after the meeting has begun and wishes to record the meeting, that person should attempt to notify the chair prior to the beginning of the recording, ideally in a manner that does not significantly disrupt the meeting in progress. The chair should endeavor to acknowledge such an attempt at notification and announce the fact of any recording to those in attendance. The agenda will list all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those reasonably accepted by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may be in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up to the discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Public participation is encouraged, and public comments may be welcome during the committee member discussions at the discretion of the chair. Please note during the public comment that you have 3 minutes to give your public comment. Thank you. Is there anybody that's taping today or videoing?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And your name?
Hi, sorry, John Bowen, 162 Island Street.
Okay. Thank you. And members heard, obviously? Okay, we may go a little out of sequence here, but we'll start off with a public comment. Is there anybody that would like to give a public comment today? Oh, I'm sorry, Dave.
That's okay. I'm here to tell you that I have been remiss in not getting you what you requested from me, because sometime next month, I guess, I will come before you.
Okay.
And I just wanted to acknowledge that. All kinds of things have happened, and I just haven't been able to get it. So I will try to get something to you, but I haven't forgotten you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Is there any more public comments?
Good morning, John Bowen, 162 Highland Street. I'm here with Jean Marie Price. To begin, I would like to make some clarification of communication from the town attorney, whenever it is presented, is always one-sided. His responsibility is not representing the interest of the people, but his sole duty is to handle city civil cases and to represent and defend city officials. When we hear Attorney Costa said from an official, they're referring to a defense to protect themselves as official in their official duty. He is not the friend of the people. I'm going to read a statement in part from the town attorney to the Attorney General, which I read in its entirety to the Select Board meeting. Please note, this outlines an issue that this board acted improperly in voting to ban a contractor from working in the town in violation of their due process. Attorney Costa wrote a letter to Attorney Polk of the Attorney General's office, and in part, he said, regarding the Commission's alleged barring of Bulak Brothers from performing future work in the North and South cemeteries, be advised that legally the Commission has no such authority. First, pursuant to the town charter, the day-to-day care and maintenance of the cemetery shall be under the supervision of the town manager. He cited code. Second, and again pursuant to the charter, the town manager, not the commission, has full jurisdiction over the use of all facilities and property except property under the control of the school committee and the conservation commission. So cited code. Third, and yet again, per the charter, the town manager is the town's chief procurement officer, and as such is responsible for procuring all services, supplies, material, equipment, and all departments and activities of the town in the manner provided in the general laws, code suggested. Thus, it is the town manager, not the commission, who would vet and select from prospective bidders on a public contract to complete landscaping work, whether under general laws 39M or general laws 30B. The commission has no authority to solicit, select, or terminate vendors. With respect to Bulak Brothers, the town manager has not blacklisted that company, which is a good thing, from any future bidding process. I want to make clear that the town attorney clarifies you have no power to act in this regard, but you did act. Second, according to Mass General Chapter 114, Sections 15 through 25, it clearly states your commission must reimburse the town for tax money spent. However, the town attorney cherry-picked the charter to admit this, and did your elected officials. And they will default to this every time. The charter said, the attorney said. As for policymaking, clearly 114 Section 3 states in the last sentence, and subject to the approval of the town, may make such regulations consistent with law as it deems expedient. Did we, the town, approve new policy and regulations? No, we did not. Did you? Yes, you did. This commission continues to overstep its authority. Your authority and money is from we, the people, not from you and your attorney. I see Ezekiel is here today and on the agenda. When is he going to step up in good faith and make a recommendation to the town to ensure that we are reimbursed by this commission and consider the law for which there is outlining that particular general law in Massachusetts? And I also want to say that I am asking for a write-in, and I would ask all three of you to vote for me for cemetery commissioner. And I mentioned that at the select board meeting, to challenge Mr. Doran. Mr. Doran has been here a long time, has provided a service, but his service has soon resolved itself. And it's time for somebody different to come in here with a different face, with a different opinion. And I suggest that this commission should either be an association and be disbarred as a commission of elected officials, but appointed with a board of directors to be able to run and review and create a 501c3 organization to take donations, to be able to develop our cemeteries with the financial needs that are necessary. 5,000 graves, $5 a grade to cut and care is $180,000 annually. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'd like to give a warm welcome to Mike Clark, as he is our newest member here on the Cemetery Commission. Again, we will be voting in May for both Michael and/or Dave Doran. Dave has served us very well for X amount of years, and it will be by the people who gets on the Cemetery Commission. So I look forward to seeing that the people come out regarding this, and this is an important, Cemetery Commission is very important to the town, and a lot of the town, a lot of the town individuals understand that. And with that being said, I'd also like to introduce Ezekiel. He is new to the town. He is our finance director and also accounting person that is taken over from Karen. He's only been here a few months, and I'm going to open the floor up to him. We're going to start with him first. We're going to kind of go out of context here, and then we will get to, it's my understanding that Richard McGrath is here. Richard, my apologies. I wasn't sure that was you sitting there, so my apologies, and we'll have you start. I'm going to have Ezekiel do his piece, and then you. Does that work okay? Okay, perfect. And welcome again. Richard, to our meeting.
All right, so I put together a draft. I've only been here a few months in the town, but my understanding of the fiscal rules and regulations, I submitted it to the Cemetery Commission for review. Again, this is a draft, there's open to discussion. So the purpose of this draft is to provide this clarification of the fiscal rules and regulations established. Cemetery Commission adopts a schedule of fees for interments and other services provided, privileges provided to the owners. The current fee schedule is available at the Cemetery Commission's Town of Lunenburg's website. The following accounts have been established and are under the purview of the Cemetery Commission. The sale of lots, which is, we have established as Fund 8115, the capital article, Fund 3006, Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund, which, the Cemetery Perpetual Care Trust Fund, the principal, which is Fund 8001, and the interest is Fund 8000, and Cemetery Gift Fund, which is Fund 1548.
Ezekiel, can I stop just for a second
Absolutely.
regarding this? I just want to, again, I want to make sure that Michael and also Dave, that, we can ask questions in between this, if that's okay.
Yeah, feel free to stop me.
So the question I just want to make sure that the public understands is there's a lot of noise going on regarding the Cemetery Perpetual Care Trust Funds. And in that, I think there was wrong information or disinformation regarding that that fund can be taken over by the town. It's my understanding from the state law, again, that it's the Cemetery Commission, and it will always be the Cemetery Commission that is the only one that can take money out of that, and that will only be from the interest from that fund.
Correct.
Nothing more. So none of the other committees, like Finance Committee or Capital Planning or anything else, can go into those funds and take those funds out. That is correct? Okay,
And we'll get into that.
okay. Okay, I think that was it.
So I'll start with the first, the sale of lots, Fund 8115. Per Mass General Law 114, Section 25, the proceeds of sale of lots or rights of burial, such cemeteries shall be paid into the town treasury and be appropriated to reimburse the town for costs of the land, its care, improvement, embellishment, or the enlargement of the cemetery. To ensure the continuous day-to-day operations and a streamlined process for the community, the sale of lots shall be handled by the cemetery superintendent. The cemetery superintendent shall adhere to the town of Lunenburg's turnover policy regarding protocol and report any receipts to the Cemetery Commission along with other pertinent information as required. As a side note, any refunds or expenses, regarding refunds or expenses, no refunds or expenses shall incur without a majority vote by the Cemetery Commission. All refund requests provided to the town must be provided to the town accountant, must also be accompanied by documentation of said commission approval. So before I move on, any questions?
Any questions on this?
I have a question. I'm not sure which section it's going to be in, but why
Okay.
don't we go
Keep
through the
going.
whole thing?
Is there anything that you have, Michael?
Yes, okay, so the sale of lots, can you stay, let's see. The cemetery superintendent shall adhere to the turnover. So the cemetery superintendent handles all paperwork, receipt, and depositing of
Correct.
checks?
Correct.
Okay.
That's part of the day-to-day operation.
And then will we get, I think the one thing I'm looking for, I think it's the same thing.
That's the question I was going to have, but that's okay.
Go ahead and ask it then.
Right now, we don't know the sale of lots unless we're told by the superintendent. That happens once in a great while. Sometimes we're just told there's going to be 5 burials next month, and we don't know how much money or anything. That's when we've been relying on your office to give us the information. Under this new policy that you're looking into putting on board, is the superintendent going to be letting us know by the forms he submits to you? Does it go through us to at least let us know how much income or how much the sale of lots are? Or do we have to keep waiting till your office gives us a paperwork?
You should be receiving a copy of the turnover. So any copies of documents turned over to the treasurer's office for revenue, you should be receiving copies of those and not waiting. We did have a meeting and discussion about that.
Right.
Okay.
So everything, again, what I just heard, I just want to repeat again, is the cemetery superintendent will give it to you, and then from there, your office will make sure that we have everything, so we know exactly, like what the sheets that I just asked you about, that Karen always gave, which is sale of lots, capital articles, so on and so forth. That's where that will come in.
Correct.
Okay. And we said once a month, right? Is that
Yeah,
what
at
we?
the end, at the beginning of the following month, you will
Right.
get a previous month's.
Okay.
So we'll get it from you, we don't necessarily have to get it from the superintendent?
No, right.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Is this all handled as paperwork, or is he working out of a system? I know we have the Munis system, and what's the protocol for transferring?
There's a physical sale, so he handles all the paperwork. There's a turnover form he has to complete along with the payment deposit, and then that goes over to the treasurer's office for, essentially, that's what's called the turnover. You're turning over the revenue.
As, paper?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Documentation, yeah.
And then at what point does it go into an electronic database?
The treasurer's office then in turn records the deposit within the Munis system
Okay.
and then makes the deposit in the bank and handles it from there.
And my understanding is, again, by this revenue turnover policy that, you know, that you and different participants put together, this is going to do the checks and balances. This is going to be better as far as cleaner, as far as make sure that you have a snapshot, and then exactly like Michael just said, it will go into the database at that point in time.
It should, yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. Okay,
Capital Article, next section is regarding Capital Article Fund 3006. Through a warrant article at Lunenburg's annual town meeting, a transfer from the sale of lots account is requested. The funds are to be used for the care, improvement, and embellishment of the town cemeteries. Once voted and established, the town accountant shall transfer the balances and specify by the warrant article, and report back to the cemetery commission that the transfer has been completed and the funds are available for use. Any questions?
no? Nope. Okay,
Next section is the Cemetery Perpetual Care Trust Fund. The purpose of the Perpetual Care Trust Fund, per Mass General Law, Chapter 114, is for the overall care, maintenance, and development necessitated by natural growth and ordinary wear. A portion of the proceeds from the sale of each grave or burial niche is designed for the Perpetual Care Trust Fund according to the fee schedule adopted by the Cemetery Commission during the budget process. The use of the Perpetual Care Trust Fund is under the purview of the Cemetery Commission only. There's two facets to the trust fund. The first is the principal, it's Fund 8001, which is non-expendable. The Perpetual Care Trust Fund principal is set aside only for investment. The second piece is the interest, Fund 8000, which is expendable. The interest earned from the principal is used to provide perpetual care. Only the interest earnings from the funds can be utilized to support costs associated for the cemetery commission operation. For the cemetery operation. Interest earnings may also fund capital improvements associated with the cemetery.
Okay.
Any questions?
any questions? Michael, or?
Who invests the money?
The treasurer, along with our financial advisor.
Okay. So, all right, there's no set funds. They're working off a financial advisor.
Correct. The
And,
financial advisor, the Perpetual Care Trust Fund, and then the interest only is what's expendable. We cannot touch the principal.
now is there, what in a year that there's no positive growth? Is the interest accumulating in another like, container that we're not, are we burning all the interest every year, or,
No,
okay.
I don't have all the answers to that, but I can get that to you.
So the-
Mike, go ahead. No, go ahead. Mike, you make a good point, because I just want to let you know that there has been some talk, we've put it on the sidebar of this, that does it make sense, like what the library has done, it's a little bit different, but that the cemetery commission takes this fund out somehow, gives it to another, we'll say, another financial industry person to go and reinvest it. There's a lot of ups and downs to that, and we need special permission, again, from, I think it downstairs in the organization of the finance department, so on and so forth, so it's a little bit more cumbersome. It is something that we can, if that's something that you think is important to look at, we can always, we had sidebarred that, and we just hadn't gone back to that. So that is a possibility, because it is flat. It's not great, because it's going over the whole umbrella. So if the town only has, 2%, then we're only going to get 2%. So right now, again, and I know this is before Ezekiel has run this, but this was done on January, so we'll say February time frame, about $222,000 we have in that fund. And the revenues and the interest, I don't think it was that much this year. Do you have that by chance? His numbers will be the correct ones. Mine is a little bit,
The FY '24 interest through the end of February, I have as $2,594.83. So it hasn't been much.
yeah. So that is a big point. Years ago, when we had to do the niche wall and all, we were behind as far as what we had. That's why I've been so careful of spending of the money right now, because I wanted to grow that a little bit to get us to where we could be stable. Before, it wasn't. So, and Bill Tyler actually is the one that started that process of getting us stable.
Okay.
Did you have?
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to go through, because I don't, so the income goes from the DPW to you, and then you give us a list. But when it comes to the expenses, you still receive from us, after we voted into our minutes, what we are expending, then we give the paperwork to you. So two different processes.
The expenses should go from DPW to you for approval, and after you have approved it, I'm assuming the chair would bring it down to our office
Right.
to process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry, we have a question.
No, absolutely. That's the whole purpose. Okay. Next section is the Cemetery Gift Fund, Fund 1548, per Mass General Law, Chapter 114, Section 25. A town in which the cemetery commissioners are chosen may receive gifts or bequests for maintaining cemeteries or cemetery lots, which shall be paid into the town treasury, and with the accounts thereof shall be kept separate from the other money and accounts of said town. The town of Lunenburg may receive gifts for maintenance of cemeteries and cemetery lots. These gifts must be turned over to the treasurer and is maintained as a separate trust fund. The expenses, again, same process. No expenses shall occur without the majority vote by the cemetery commission. All refund requests must be provided to the town accountant, must also be accompanied by documentation of said commission approval.
Okay. The only thing you may want to put on this, and I'm not 100% sure, but is that usually the cemetery commission, when there is a gift that's given, then the chair will stand before the select board, and then the select board will accept it. I don't know, you may want to talk to them first, Michael or whoever, to make sure that I have that correct. But that's usually the process, and you might want to put that in there, just in a side note, or however you want to do it, Ezekiel.
And the select board approves it, okay.
Yeah, usually the chair or something would go before the select board,
Okay.
and to have it accepted.
Okay, thank you.
Now, is this gift fund interest bearing? account too, and working with the
It's separate.
investment?
It's just a separate, almost like a savings account.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so we're making nothing on this one, Michael.
okay.
And the balance is low.
Is that something is that something that could change, though?
I'm sure it's up for discussion.
Okay.
Talk about it at a later time.
Okay, okay.
I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but this receipt of gifts from anybody in the town that wants to give us a gift, is there any other process that we have to go through, or is it just allowed that they can give us a gift and we can just use the money?
That I do not know, if the gifts have a specific target in mind. We could probably look into that as well. I don't have an answer for you. But,
Because I know,
I'm assuming the gift would have to be townwide.
But see, this is where the
I don't have an
stipulation is.
answer.
Yeah, he may
Yeah.
not have that answer yet.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm stopping on that one is because of what we have today of, we have a wonderful gift of $175,000 that we cannot accept at this point in time. Until that project is done, as far as if it's building of the wall at North Cemetery, then it can't just come in under this funding and it can't stay there. It would have to go in a different way. The town holds it until that project is done and we have the rest of the money to complete it. If it was only $175,000, then fine, that would be it. But where that wall, we've done the first preliminary findings of exactly how much that would cost and so on and so forth. And I just want to make clear, because again, there's a lot of disinformation about this, is, again, the Cemetery Commission understands what we can do and what we can't do. We're a body that listens to the town, listens to the town manager, listen to the select board, and it's something that, we're growing in as far as understanding the best way forward with this. So nothing has been done, there is nothing etched in stone, there is no bidding that has taken place at all regarding this, so we're in fact finding mode. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yep.
That's a good question. Thank you.
Okay, and then this is the back part, so.
Current balances. Current balance in the sale of lots is $87,373.13. Capital Article Fund 3006 has a balance of $7,536.61. Cemetery Perpetual Care Interest, the expendable 8,000 fund, has a balance of $14,105.05. The non-expendable perpetual care principal has a balance of $224,502.91, and the cemetery gift fund has a balance of $209.39
Okay.
as of the end of February.
As of February.
So if we could look at the capital article, the capital our article has that $7,000 that was already there, the $10,000 that we just put in the asking for money for this year for FY '24, the authorized transfer, that will leave the cemetery commission with $11,702.
No, the $11,702 are the expenditures from FY '24.
Expenditures.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So-
Yep, I see. Yep.
So, the 10,000, with the 10,000 transfer and the prior balance from FY '23, the final ending balance is 7,536.
Okay.
That's what's in there.
All right. And then with the interest, technically, we could take that 7,000 and we could take the 14,000 that's, again, that is with the cemetery care interest, and that can be sent if there was a special project that needed to be done that was X amount of dollars for that.
If it's been approved.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Any questions, Michael or Dave? Okay. So the only question I have is, going forward with this revenue transfer, I know that from my understanding, what I read is that Heather would like to get this back to the select board and they'll vote on it next time?
Yes.
Is that my understanding?
And this is just in draft form.
And this is just the draft form. So then from there, they'll vote on that, look at it, and then go to that next step.
Absolutely.
And then everybody will be then, all the commissions and different committees will be then brought back in?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So you'd like to get this done, and this is basically, from my understanding, for audit purposes, is that correct? It's coming down from the state level? Okay,
So we have fiscal policies and procedures from DLS being drafted, but this involves the revenue for the town, so we would like to implement it
Okay.
sooner or later. Just
now, do you have Adam, the Costa, do you have the attorney part of this too, reviewing this? Is that part of his?
I think I would.
I would
I
assume
can't speak for the town manager, but I would think he had reviewed.
I would
it.
think, yeah, okay.
The only other question I have is, this was sent to us, I think by Heather, it's called revenue turnover policy. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Right, the differentiation though between departments, commissions, is it the same? Is it different? Because one section just tells you here, was it page 2? It talks all the departments and all the revenue types, and that's when I see the word commissions in here. Cemetery department, it should say. But everything else talks about department heads, and so where do all the commissions that are part of the town, Conservation Commission, Cemetery Commission, where does that fit in compared to department heads? or department-
Well, it's my understanding the department heads work directly with said commissions. So there should be a communication between. So the departments handle the day-to-day. So any revenue that comes in, the department should speak with the commission, and then the departments handle the actual fiscal turnover.
Well, that's where I want to make sure that we're clean cut about that, because that's been the problem. And that, in fact, we'll bring up right now regarding the invoices that were not given to the Cemetery Commission. It was not signed correctly. It was signed by the TBW and not the Cemetery Commission, which that has never happened before. And again, like I said on several meetings ago, this cannot happen again. You and I both understand that. We've got, you put the plan in together to make sure that that happens. We're going to make sure to go backwards in time before audit purposes. We've got to sign these, and we're going to vote on these right now. So, or after we finish this, so that we can make sure that we're in compliance with the state.
So my question, and I'm not sure you would know the answer, but maybe you could take it back to the rightful people, but in this turnover policy, can it say to the effect that the department heads, if there is a commission involved with the department heads, the department heads must notify the commissions of any signatures that need to be handled, or, you know what I'm trying to
Yes,
get to?
I can bring back your feedback.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. That way we'll know that we are going to be involved, and that we are going to know what's happening when it comes, especially to the income that comes in.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's important. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overstep that when you started talking,
No problem.
Mr. Vice Chair. All right, so again, we're going to vote right now, and Michael, we can also have your signature too with all of us on this, since we're all three here, that we're voting on, I'm not going to say the person's name, but there was a sale of lot that had to be given back, a refund was given back, and we have three of them. Two of them are older, which was done on 11/7/2023. Again, the signature was not appropriate. And also, there is another one in here that was on 11/20/23, 3, that was $1,200. That was, again, another one that either the people have left the area and no longer wants a burial there, so they're selling it back. And then the one that was just recent, which was 3/13/24. So I'm going to make a motion to accept these, put our signatures on it so that Ezekiel can then do and get this person cut a check regarding that. All right, so I've made a motion. Anybody?
Second.
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion has passed. And I'll just give this to you, Ezekiel, so.
Okay, thank you.
Give you one at a time. Okay. You'll just have to go underneath me on those. So that will take care of an audit purposes that we've done that, okay. I crossed out the names because those were not proper, and then I'm giving you all of this back. And I think this is the newest one. I think the other two was already given money back, but, okay.
Thank you.
I'll give that to you. Okay. I thank you so much for, you're more than welcome to stay, or if you need to go downstairs, you're more than welcome, whatever you'd like to do.
Thank you. I have a long day ahead of me.
That's what I figured, so I was trying to
Thank
get
you.
you. Thank you again for bringing this up, and thank you again to Heather for putting all of this together with you, and we appreciate it, and we look forward in working with you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Take care.
All right, poor Mr. McGrath. Thank you so much for taking time and bringing this to our attention.
Welcome. Richard McGrath, 22 Cushing Lane, Chairman of Lunenburg Historical Commission. I was going to update you on different things that we're involved with concerning the cemeteries and to answer any of your questions about any of the cemeteries that you may have that we have information on.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to start with the Arnold Litch Cemetery plot. The Historical Society had approached us, the Historical Commission at one point, and brought this to our attention that there was a lost family cemetery plot on West Street Terrace, and asked if we would get involved with making a memorial in the area of that lost cemetery, recognizing the people that were buried there. So we agreed to do that. We were putting together a memorial, which included granite curbing that would surround the memorial that was donated by Powell Stone and Gravel in Lunenburg. We had to dig out for a base, 2-3 feet deep base for a crushed stone to go under the memorial, and Lever Excavating donated their time and machines to do that work, as well as they cut down limbs and small trees that were in that area. The memorial was to include a blank stone that was in the barn from Mr. and Mrs. Como, who lived nearby. Probably had been in that barn since the 1800s, and it was a perfect match to what might have been there originally. So they donated that stone, and the Historical Commission had a bronze plaque with the names of the deceased on it, which was inset into that stone. The cemetery had been, the land was developed, it was a large farm, and the land was sold and developed in the early 1950s for a housing project. Which was typical at the time. There were covenants that it was segregated. There was no coloreds allowed to buy property there. And the developer, we presume, desecrated the cemetery, took it down, all the stones, and they were found at, one of them was found at the house nearby that was, to my knowledge, was the developer's house originally. So he had taken the stones down, and they were turned upside down, used made into a marble sidewalk. The majority of the stones were lost, but the Historical Society found that one broken one was there. We restored that stone. It had been broken in two. We glued it back together again, and that was set up in the memorial.
So when does that look like that's going to be complete? Because the Cemetery Commission can't do anything with that until, again, the town attorney, and all of that is taken care of.
Yeah,
So
I'll
what
get to
is?
that. Let me
I'm
finish
sorry.
the narrative. So it was desecrated. We found the stone. We were starting to set up the memorial, and then the new DPW chief was interested in being involved, the town being involved with it. It was just the Historical Commission and the society were taking care of it. And he brought in ground radar to try to find where the burials actually were. And they did find the burials, which was in a slightly different spot than where we were setting up the memorial. And but it's on someone's property. So it was all legally done, right? It was a family plot, so state law says that, that's a sacred ground, but it ended up on somebody's property and they have a mortgage on it. So so that kind of tied everything up. So as far as I know right now, that's being negotiated with the owner. They have to contact the who has the mortgage and work all that out to create an easement there before we can go forward with that project. So the stones have been removed, and they're at Holman Street, at your building there. So that's where that stands.
So the stones that are there upright, is that the stones that you're talking about that's marble?
I haven't gone over to see them. The DPW removed them. There's one that has the bronze plaque that's over there, and the one that we restored whole is over there.
And when do you think, again, that's going to be set to go forward? Are we
I
talking?
have no idea. It's out of our hands.
Right, because it's in the
So
legal
it'd be
piece of.
the town manager, the DPW.
Okay,
Trying to figure that out.
okay.
I met with town council yesterday. He didn't know where that stood at present.
Okay.
Second thing is the Goodridge Street family plot at Fish and Lincoln, behind Cherry Hill Ice Cream.
Fish,
Up until probably 20 years or so ago, that cemetery was mint. I've watched that cemetery since the early 1970s, and it was always the same. The stones were clean and everything was upright. And then about 20 years ago, I think, it was desecrated. The stones were knocked down and broken. Some of them have been reset, but they're So the Historical Commission, previously had spoken with the Cemetery Commission about restoring the wall around there. The DPW has cut down a lot of overgrowth around the existing wall. So we had spoke to them about restoring the existing wall, which is on two sides, and the other two sides, the wall is non-existent. I don't know if it was there originally. Usually, they were enclosed on four sides, so I suspect that somebody had removed those stones at some point. But we proposed to supply the labor to build the other two walls so that the cemetery plot would be completely surrounded and more protected. And the Cemetery Commission had agreed to supply the stone for that. Presently, we're restoring, I had poked around there and found the fragments of Levi Goodrich's gravestone. It was buried under the grass, so I dug it out and took it to my shop. And where I found a 19th century marble blank that looked like it was a fairly good replica of what was there, similar to what was there originally. And we're recreating that stone in my shop right now. So this is the...
So what's your thought on time frame for that?
fall.
Start it on the fall or finish it on the fall?
Start and finish.
Start and finish on the fall.
This is the picture of the fragment and the monument fragment and removal record of it. It's not, it was at my shop and it's now at Holman Street.
Okay.
And this is these are pictures of it being
Oh, yeah.
recreated to, it's pretty hard to see what was there originally, but we're trying to replicate it as close as possible. And we have there's a book that has all the epitaphs on the old stones in Lunenburg, and that so we have the epitaph for that. So might not be exactly where it was originally, but
Okay.
all the words will be on it.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
So is this, to restore the wall, we're talking about a stone wall compared to just,
The fieldstone wall that's
Fieldstone
there, it'll
wall like
match
we have
that
at
all
the
the
other
way around.
cemeteries.
Yeah, the other two sides will be the same. We're selecting granite posts right now for the entryway, so there'll be an entryway with two granite posts, and then the stone wall goes around the entryway. I spoke with Todd about the size of the entryway so he can get his mowing equipment in there. So that's all set. I would, at some point, it would be good to have a metal gate on the entryway so that it would be fully enclosed.
Okay.
in the stone wall, do you have access to knowing where to get it from?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
we're just gonna pay the,
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. No, I just have to, I think the prices haven't gone up much, if anything, on that material.
So you
over.
can get us the estimate for
Yeah.
that? Okay. Perfect.
and you think that's gonna start in September, you said, the fall?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the DPW is going to dig out for the base of the wall, and then so then they dig down a small distance, maybe 8 inches or so, and then there's or a foot, and then there's a crushed stone base goes in, and then the wall is built on top of that.
Okay.
So you talked to the DPW about this already?
We've been talking about it for 2 years, yeah. Yeah, this was initiated a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
We just, like I said, as Cemetery Commission, we need to be involved in this, and so I just want to make sure that, we're part of that whole
Yeah,
process.
yeah, you were the point.
And you
of
and
it.
I had talked about that the
Yeah.
other day.
That's why we called you in,
And I
because we haven't heard anything from
Yes,
the
I had
DPW.
spoken with Bill Tyler and met with him and DPW at the site a couple times.
Right, and that's what started, yes, yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
North Cemetery,
Could I ask, but is this a private family plot, or is this a town plot?
the town.
It's a town.
Town has jurisdiction over that now, so they maintain it.
Okay,
The Arnold Litch Cemetery, having been lost and desecrated, that's being worked out now. The town would eventually be in charge of that also.
well, I'm adjacent to that
Yeah,
property across the street, diagonal,
yeah.
and,
So you've been seeing what was going on there and.
right. I would say it's pretty much been in the shape it's been in. The biggest problem was the ice storm, which, residents cleaned up
Yeah,
quite a bit of limb and brush out of there,
yeah, yeah.
but
So did you see where they found the burials?
no.
So where we are, it's almost as far to the right as you can go in those woods. So it's on that
Oh,
last
that's
property.
additional. I mean, there were headstones, and it looked like maybe some were over. I don't know if somebody did that, but,
Yes,
Yeah,
we set up,
seemed to
we
always-
started to set the headstones up, and then with the project got halted because of they were searching for where the burials really were. We didn't know that before, so we knew it was in that general area. That's why we
okay.
were setting up there. And then when they brought in the radar and found the true places, we stopped because it was nowhere near there. It was,
oh, okay, so the headstones aren't in the proper location.
they weren't, no.
Oh, okay.
No, we didn't know where the proper location was, and we were assuming that that's as far as so when the town got involved and brought in the radar, that was great, because we didn't have that option before. We were guessing where it was, so. They also brought in the radar at the Fish Street Cemetery, Levi Goodrich, and they found a lot of, I think, 7 or 8 burials that were towards the back, but unmarked, of children that were buried there.
Oh, okay.
The other piece is, I know that Mark Flagg also helped us out, and he took some, I believe, a tree or two
Yeah,
down for
yeah.
us. This was a few years ago, so Mark was also very, we appreciated his work for coming in and bringing the crane in and doing everything he
Yeah,
needed
yeah,
to do.
Yeah, that was great. So when we're almost done the stone in my shop, when that's done, that'll be set up on site where his burial actually is, and then the other stones will be cleaned and repaired as needed. That might happen before, maybe this summer sometime, that we can work on that, so.
Awesome.
If I could ask for you to, because we meet once a month, if you're gonna start in September, if we can get an invoice from you or a cost in July,
I'll have
since we only
the,
meet once a month.
I'll have the
talk
stone
about it in
company.
July.
Yeah, I'll have the stone company send an estimate of what the stone would cost, and then you can handle it from there with them.
Okay.
Is there gonna be any labor? Your cost is gonna be in there too, or just
No, I have no cost.
no cost for you?
No,
Just the
Yeah.
stone?
yeah, it's
the
the
cement.
Historical Commission is,
Okay.
I'm donating labor through the Historical Commission.
And we appreciate, we
appreciate that.
thank
you.
thank you, Richard, for
You're
that.
welcome. So on to North Cemetery.
Okay, we have only a few more minutes, only because I've got to
Okay.
get moving, but,
Yeah, shut me off as soon as,
no, I don't want to cut you off, I just want to,
Okay, North Cemetery, so Form E, which is, registers that cemetery with Mass Historical Commission, was filled out by me a number of years ago. I went through the whole cemetery, counted all the stones, documented the old part of the cemetery and the mid part, the 1800s part of the cemetery, later 1800s when things went from slate to marble. So that's all been documented. It's there because that's documented. That would help you with getting grants from the state for any work that needs to be done there.
Are we talking about the Fish Street or all?
North
we're talking-
North Cemetery.
North Cemetery.
North Cemetery.
Yeah, North Cemetery.
And it's, where is it located now that we can see all this?
You have the paperwork, I sent that
The-
to you. All that paperwork that I sent is exactly what he had filled out. Remember all that paperwork?
Oh, the yellow
Which-
folder?
I don't know, but Michael, there is a document that we have that they had filled all this paperwork out regarding it, and it gave the Historical Society and to make sure that we're protected as far as in that North Cemetery. That's why I was so intent with trying to, understand with the town and what their thoughts were of putting a wall in, because then it connects it in with what's already there of so many years ago.
And then at South Cemetery, same forms had been filled out, I believe, in the 1980s. And that one might be on the National Register of Historic Places. I'm not sure about that. But you could check online to see if that's there with the National Register.
The only thing that I remember looking at the North Cemetery is I thought there was one issue that it wasn't completely filled out. I sent you that paperwork, though. Did you look at that?
I don't recall.
Okay. Let me know when you go back, because I think I had emailed it to you, and at first I wasn't sure if you had the correct email or not, so I sent it to, I think it was your home email or what you have.
Yes.
And I sent that to you, and there was a huge document that came up behind it that talked about that the process had started, but I didn't think on the registry it had finished. That's the only thing I'm asking, is on that, if we can check into that for the North
It's
Cemetery.
not on the National Register.
It's not?
No,
Okay.
no. but
Is that something that the Historical Society can fix and get that on the register?
It should be on the register for sure. Anyone can do that.
Okay.
I can put that on our list of things to do.
That would be wonderful. And then just keep us apprised, or if you need help with it or whatever, just, let us know on that, if that's all right, Richard.
Yep.
So what am I hearing here now? The North and South Cemetery are or
No,
not
the
on
South Cemetery is on the register, but
Is it?
I thought you just said it was.
No, I said I was. I think it is. I'm not sure if it
Okay.
is or not.
We need to make sure that we get that, and then the next part will be eventually is getting the Fish Street, and then the other one, the memorial one.
North Street is on this?
No, they're not.
None of them are on
No.
I don't believe so.
National Historical.
I think they started the process, but it looked like to me that it wasn't finished. And that was back in the like you said, 1980s, I think.
So when you say that we can go for grants, what part of the cemetery is it's not on the National Historical Commission, so where
There's
is it?
federal and there's state grants that are available at different times for different projects. This is one that the state has every year. It would be more for any, like surveys. There's a cemetery in Stoneham that's having, they're surveying the whole cemetery, what's in there, how it's laid out, and an assessment of what needs to be done to preserve the cemetery. So
Can we keep this?
Yes,
and then I'll
that's
give
for
this-
you, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a website, Mass Listserv, I'll send you the link. It has, it's connected to all the historical commissions, towns, and other different preservation groups and architects. And any questions that you have on anything, you can just type it in and you'll get answers from people that have had experience with that. So grants that might be needed for a certain thing. It's tremendous information on.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I've had a couple other people that have sent some things too. So that's great. We'll put that in with that and see how we can go forward and making that happen.
And one other thing, if the town ever gets the Community Preservation Act, there's a lot of things done with CPA funds for cemeteries. This was a brick wall that we worked on last year. We preserved, it was built by a slave in 1768 in Medford. We preserved that, and that was done with CPA funds.
Wow.
Milk Row Cemetery in Somerville. I drove by the cemetery for years, saw marble stones, and they were all black. The whole, just the whole cemetery was black. The wall around it was in disrepair. They restored that cemetery with the CPA funds.
Wow.
This is the Salem Street Burial Ground in Medford. It's a huge,
Oh, yes, yeah.
huge 18th, 19th century cemetery in the center of town. They're seeking and will receive CPA funds to restore the brick wall that surrounds that property. In Boxford, they use CPA funds to restore 90 headstones in the cemetery. So it's a huge boon if the town had that to funding.
Right.
And also, once you're receiving CPA funds, it opens doors to other state funds and federal funds for different projects.
And I think the biggest thing is too, is, again, with our military and our veterans that are in all of these graves, that, again, we owe it to them to, again, not only to them, but also the people the loved ones that are buried there.
Sure.
I personally don't have anyone buried at any cemeteries here in Massachusetts. That doesn't mean that I don't care for the loved ones that have been buried, and especially the military and so on and so forth.
Yes, yeah.
So,
And there may be grants available through Veterans Administration or other things that could go to historic
Yes.
graves in that
Yes.
sense.
all right.
Okay?
Can we keep these, or do you need these
Yeah,
back?
those are few.
Okay,
And if you have any questions in the meantime, let me know and I'll be in touch.
okay.
All right.
I thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's
And
nice
let me
to
know
meet
if you don't find that paperwork, and I'll resend that to you, okay, Richard?
What is in that?
That is going to give you exactly what was filled out for, I believe, what should be on the register, but I'm not 100% sure if it actually got on there or not. I had someone that works with this type of stuff, and she couldn't find the last piece of it. That's why we're thinking it's not complete.
Okay.
So that's all the paperwork that we had that I sent you.
It's a National Register application?
Yep, everything should be right there with
Okay.
it. And if you need anything, just let me know, because I can reach out to my person that also helped.
This was something the Cemetery Commission had filled out?
Yes, in previous years.
Okay.
But I think it was, like I said, I think it was 1974, if I remember correctly. Now, that date seems to be in the back of my mind.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It was that far back.
Michael has a question.
I just,
Sorry.
as far as
you.
identifying these family plots and all, is this the extent, or do we have some sort of record of family plots in Lunenburg?
I think there are more, people buried people in their backyards back then. So,
Yeah.
I think the Historical Society had mentioned that there might be one or two more that they
Okay.
know of that are missing.
Okay, but you don't know of a dozen or 24 other spots?
No,
It's just,
no.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering on the extent of
Yeah, it's a
what we
good,
know about
good
it.
question. Yeah, it's very vague, so at this point, maybe somebody will do research and find out more, but
There is another piece that you may want to think about, is where the Raymaker that we have, the Cemetery Commission is the one who pays for that, is the one that is in control of that with Todd under his job title that goes in and puts the information in there. I think the biggest thing that we need to make sure of too is all of that information that was before the software was put in place, which was, I think it was 2010, that all of those records, because my fear is if there was ever a fire over at the DPW, we're going to lose all those records.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
are paper. And I didn't know if there was some sort of thoughts you had on that. And again, this can be at a later date to think about it first, is how we move forward with that for the cemetery, not only for the Cemetery Commission, but also for you as a historical society.
Move forward with what?
With all the old records that are literally there in paper. Cards, things like that.
That would be a good question to put on listserv. And there's a lot of people that I'm sure have had the same, where everybody's in the communities are all in
Right.
the same thing, right? So,
Right.
Well, that brings up a question. The Historical Commission,
mhm.
do you have a certain room that's like fireproof, that you have things in that you want to restore? I'm not sure.
And the Historical Society does.
Historical Society?
Yes, they have their records. Our records are at the town clerk's office, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
We
would
have
be
a
Bill.
file, we have a file cabinet at the Ritters, so there's some in a file cabinet, but all the pertinent records, agendas, and are in the,
Okay. So
yeah.
if we
But
wanted to,
we probably have the same thing. All our records should, that are in the file cabinet should be gone through and
Right.
updated to modern times.
so we need to
Yeah.
check to see if we can put it in a secure, safe, fireproof
Yeah,
instead of at the DPW. Okay,
great, thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you for
time.
coming.
Sorry we took so long. So I think the next piece on the agenda, I think we need to discuss the reorganization of the Cemetery Commission. We need to vote and approve. Is there any thoughts with Michael? Usually what we start with is that you would come in as clerk. But what I'd like to offer you, because again, I know everybody is very busy, is that we all kind of share putting the minutes together, so that one person doesn't get this constantly. Even though you'd be called, if you're okay with this, and you and Dave can discuss, Dave is the vice chair, I will be a chair for another year, and then if I decide to stay on and continue, and then I will, again, I'll give somebody else the chair at that point in time.
Sure, that sounds fine.
Is that acceptable to everyone? Are you all set where you are, Mr. Dave?
I'm all set. I think as far as the paperwork goes, Michael should be put down as the clerk, but then we can work together.
Right, exactly.
That's okay.
Is everybody
Okay.
voting on that?
That's fine with me.
Okay. So I make a motion to vote that Michael comes as clerk, Dave Duran stays as vice chair, and Nancy stays as chair. And anybody like to second that?
Second,
And all in favor?
aye.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Okay.
And that's, this is for 1 year
Yes,
Yes.
from today.
yes. Again, that's if, again, everybody is still in the same place as far as with the voting and so on and so forth, and the next stages. But yes.
Right.
Okay. Michael, I know, I believe I sent you the minutes, but because you weren't part of this, I can't have you vote on the minutes. So Dave and I, are you okay with these
I'm
minutes?
okay with the minutes.
The only thing that I may have to change is that one piece that I have a typo when I said we ended at 8:40, it was 7:40 that we ended. I will go in and change that. With that change, have you accepted both the March 14th minutes, and also the 19th, which was the select board when we did the joint.
I accept the Thursday, March 14th as written, and the Tuesday, March 19th with the change to 7:40 a.m.
Okay.
or p.m. a.m.
Making a motion to accept both?
Aye.
All in
Second.
favor? Aye. Second? You second it?
I second it.
And then aye. Okay. All in favor? Okay, that's been voted on. Is there anything else?
DPW's not here, so.
So I don't know if, as of yesterday, when I went in, I did not see anything from Bill that he was not going to be here. Now, he may have this morning, sometimes he does. I want to go over, is there anything with what Bill had sent us regarding the annual maintenance plan? Is there anything that you would like to say, Michael, and/or Dave, regarding that?
I personally just, I don't think it outlines exactly, it's like a copy paste. I don't think it outlined exactly what he was going to do each month or how the superintendent's going to, or what he's going to do each month. But I think we can work on that next time we get a hold of the DPW director and ask him. Because I think it's important that, especially for the holidays, because the superintendent's told us in the past he's really busy. Too busy to, he gets all these phone calls and, you know, it's something we need to talk to him about because he said at one of our meetings last year when the select board was there also, or part of the select board, and mentioned he gets all these phone calls, he has all these burials to do, which I don't see a lot of burials. But if that's the case, then we need to help him out to maybe have someone like the receptionist, or I don't know what their title is, at the DPW, to take his calls while he's working, and then he gets back. Like, a lot of businesses do this, say that they're, if I'm not answering the phone, I'll get back to you at a later time or within 24 hours. Maybe that would help him. I just want to help him because he's told us in the past he's got a lot of work to do. So if that's the case, then we need to figure out a way to,
Okay.
because the town's not going to hire another person to help him, except the part-timers
Right,
that do the weed whacking and stuff.
right. So I think this needs to be, Michael, is there anything you want to say? Because I think this needs to be tabled again when he's here, so we can go over a little bit, or what your thought. I will send him a note regarding, again, I have the same problem, is this is great for an overall piece, but it's not showing me exactly what you're doing each month and what's going on. And that anything to do with the trees and the shrubs, my concern is, again, where unfortunately they were done so badly, and so many issues that we've had and what we see today, which is not pleasant, that needs to be relooked at again, and who is going to come in and do this work.
Yeah, I agree. I just, I had a bunch of random kind of thoughts reading it, so I won't, I mean, if we're gonna revisit it, you know, just things like
Okay.
if they say they're controlling the, you know, the levels of the water, how do they do that? And, like in winter, is there some access provided into the cemetery? I know they don't plow. Do they snow blow? How do people, you know, just various things like, you know,
Okay.
just odd.
So let's so we'll put
Reading
this
it one
on.
time through, I just got odd.
Okay, so we're going to table this, and we'll put it on to the next agenda on that, if everybody's in agreement. The same with the Rainmaker again. There's, just so you guys know, Rainmaker came out with an upgrade on their end to make it look prettier, to make it be more successful as far as people finding the information in it. And we're going to look at that next level and what that looks like. The one problem I have is that he only puts us in the winter time. There isn't that many burials going on during the year that it should be updated at that point in time. Understanding, if he has X amount of burials in, we'll say, the month of June, then okay, it waits until July, August to be inputted. But the problem that I have is, you know, I had some family members say, hey, why can't I go out and I can find, you know, my father's been buried or whoever, and I can't find the information. Well, that's because it's not there, because he doesn't put it in until the winter time. So I think that needs to be relooked at, and we need to discuss that and what that might look like, if we're all in agreement on that. Okay. Let me just see if there's anything, is there anything else that either of you would like to bring up?
Anything, Michael?
No, not at this time. I'm just coming up to speed. I've gone through the cemetery. I have some thoughts on things, but
Yeah, right now, I think the North Cemetery does not look nice at all. It needs to be, I understand that there were a few burials, but to leave it in the array that it is, I don't think is, my personal opinion is, as cemetery commissioner, I don't like the looks of it. It's, you know, it's all dug up. It wasn't put down as far as fixing it back up after you've had, I understand it was a lot of wet in there, I get it, and they sunk, and I get that. But it should not be looking the way it does for the last few weeks. I don't know if you've been over there since.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't notice anything too disturbing.
Yeah, if you
other
look,
than
if you go
tracks.
down through that first path and then
Yeah.
you go down through, it's up on that hill. And I know it's hard, don't get me wrong, but I think we could leave it a little bit better. You know, we have enough workers now. Mr. Bernard has told us that, you know, they're up to par with who the workers are that have come in and so on and so forth, so.
I think it's mainly the tire tracks from doing the burials.
Oh, yeah.
If you leave it- If you leave it the
If
way
you
it
leave
is,
it the way it is.
hardens up
Right,
compared to just smoothing it out right then and there.
right.
That grounds, I see I mean, having
It's on
been with the
ledge.
scouts over there. Yeah, it's on ledge, it's tough to grow good
Right.
grass.
Right,
But,
And anything you do will leave a mark.
right. But I think having a plan, that's the thing, is,
Yeah. One thought I had is, you know, being with the scouts is flag retirement and, you know, a flag retirement area. You know, typically they'll pull out something in like a barrel and respectfully discard of the old flags through burning. But it takes a lot of time, you know, and there's a lot of flags, and are the flags being stockpiled? And one thing I thought, since my son did the Eagle Project at the North Cemetery with the military flags, not that it has to be, but to complement that, I know they said there's a project to do that sort of thing, but it maybe some sort of nice flag retirement area. I don't know if that would, you know, it's just a thought of a nice place to do, you know, intermittent flag retirement ceremonies. Of course, you would be burning the flag, so could,
is that something that you can pull in with the Boy Scouts and we can do some, if,
I don't know, yeah, it's just a thought now of what could be needed, because, you know, we say 1,100 flags, how are we retiring those in the end from the graves? And
and I don't have an
I don't
answer
have
for
an
you,
answer.
so
that's each
right.
year, and so is there, you know, maybe a nice formal retirement ceremony that you could kind of do with, and
I think that's one of the
possibly
things.
veterans groups, senior centers, scouts.
I think that's one of the things we need to have as a plan from the DPW. That's a good point, because he does say that he pulls them up, but then what do you do with them?
Right,
You know,
right.
and-
He reuses as many as he can.
Oh,
I do-
okay.
I do know
okay,
that.
Okay, yeah.
very seldom, well, I shouldn't say what the percentage is, because I think we'll say 200, maybe not be, but $250, something like that, to replace those flags. So he tries to keep them year after year. They
Right.
probably only last a couple of years because those sticks are so flimsy.
Right.
But the other pieces that you bring up, and I didn't put it on the agenda, but since, again, we're talking about this, and it can be under the open meeting laws that I can decide to put something else on here, is I had sent a quick note, and I don't know if it came out that you actually saw it, I don't have it here, as far as what the light looks like. We need to illuminate those flags. We have been so wrong not to have those flags illuminated. That's being very disrespectful, and I take that wholeheartedly, again, for the military and so on and so forth. That needs to change. So if we can make a vote right now, and, well, we'll have to probably vote on it the next meeting, but I'll put it as a placing of voting for illumination of those flags. And I think I saw the price of $40 to do both. One will be for North Cemetery, one will be for South. And it goes up in there, and in fact, I think the town has one that they're doing themselves, and we're gonna see how that's gonna go as far as, from the light, as far as it's not batteries, it's solar panels, and it's very, just big enough to come around, and it should illuminate it enough.
Okay.
Is it
So,
illuminating, that one would illuminate all the flags or just the American flag? All of them? It's gonna be that
no,
bright?
it doesn't have to be all of them, it needs to just be the American flags,
That's what I
right?
thought. Okay.
So let's put that on the next agenda again,
Okay.
because we can talk about it, but we need to vote on it the next time. And that will be, again, for the north and the south, and if there was ever anything else too, so. The only other thing, the future meeting, I had kind of just threw out there Thursday, May 16th. I don't know what that looks like for everyone. You guys can get back to me if we need to move it out, that's fine. Mike, my schedule can change pretty much on probably the easiest ones, so I try to go on the ones that are working and what date works well for them. So you can get back to me on that.
Oh, what date was that?
I had
May 16th.
May 16th.
Oh, okay. It's 9 a.m.?
Yes, here. All right. So I'm going to make a motion, if everybody's okay, that we've discussed everything to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
All right,
Adjourned at 10:25.
okay, adjourned at 10:25. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.